Hi everyone, my name is Dayeon and my final project is a research paper about vegetarianism in view of animal ethics and ecocentrism. Personally, I've been a vegetarian for 3 years. I became vegetarian because of animal rights, inspired by Peter Singer's theory of animal liberation. But even after I decided to be a vegetarian, I thought a lot about its justification because not everyone agrees with the idea of animal rights. Recently, as the seriousness of climate change has emerged, more and more people are trying to reduce meat consumption for environmental reasons. So I wanted to look at the legitimacy of vegetarianism in terms of biocentrism or zoocentrism and ecocentrism that we learned in class. There are largely two theories in animal ethics: deontology and utilitarianism. Tom Regan, a representative deontologist, argued that animals have inherent value as subjects of life. In his view, vegetarianism is just a form of ethics rather than an environmental movement. And a utilitarianist, Peter Singer, says that animals' interests should be considered equally in that they are able to feel pain and enjoyment. He strongly criticized the factory farming system, which exploits animals to produce meat. The problem of the system can be linked to consumers because it is invented to meet the rising demand for meat, and purchasing the products can ensure that the system is maintained. However, there are some critics of Singer's thought. Since he established the boundary of the capacity to feel pain as a condition of moral consideration, there is still a hierarchy in the ecosystem, although he expanded moral status from humans to animals. Also, individualism theories such as animal ethics have limitations in overlooking the entire ecosystem. If every animal's rights should be respected equally, endangered species and invasive species should be treated equally. But the interaction between species in nature is complicated. If we are looking for a sustainable diet, we need to go beyond individualism and look at ecocentrism. Vegetarianism from the perspective of ecocentrism can be explained as a diet to reduce environmental impact. Excessive meat consumption causes environmental problems including climate change. The livestock industry is responsible for mass emissions of greenhouse gases and huge amounts of water and land use. There is a term called climatarian, which refers to people who consist of their diets eco-friendly. The climatarian diet does not necessarily exclude animal-based food, because some locally produced meat or fish can be less harmful than imported crops or fruits like avocados. However, it is true that the large-scale livestock industry does not respect animals' intrinsic value and treat them just as resources. Also, the growing demand for meat brings out the loss of biodiversity as a result of deforestation and the identification of the breed. The current food industry tends to commercialize our natural resources, and with the ecocentric view, we can think of a sustainable diet for food security and respect for life and the planet. Considering the necessity of vegetarianism, I found that ecocentrism provides many grounds, but it is difficult to apply it as an obligation. This is because you guys can do other good activities for the environment instead of not eating meat. This is not to say that vegetarianism and other environmental movements are incompatible, but this is the case when considering the limitations that individuals can make. I think everyone should be aware of the problems of excessive meat consumption, even if not everyone becomes vegetarian. So I'd like to argue that we are obliged to be aware of the impact that we make, and also we should appreciate the values of all living things and the planet we live on now. It's not convincing to live an ascetic life for the environment, but still there are so many small things we can try as a consumer in modern society. What we eat is very important to ourselves and the environment. If dietary choices that we everyday make reflect on the responsibility for the environment and the respect for other beings, we could promote sustainability in a healthier relationship with the environment. Thank you for listening.